Friday to you, and welcome to CNN 10. We're happy to have you watching as we wrap up the week. I'm Carl Azus, and I work at the CNN Center in more normal times, but everyone's having to make adjustments in this era of coronavirus, and that includes U.S. politicians. As one political organizer put it, no one's ever run a campaign completely online before. The big town hall events, the speeches in front of cheering crowds, these have been put on hold to keep people from gathering in large groups. So this is turning into a very different looking election year than America has ever seen. The once numerous field of presidential candidates has been whittled down. Former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld ended his Republican campaign on March 18th. A day later, U.S. Representative Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii ended her Democratic campaign. And just this week, U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont ended his Democratic campaign. So all this means that former Vice President Joe Biden, a Democrat, and incumbent President Donald Trump, a Republican, are set to be the final candidates for America's major political parties. They'll be on the presidential ballot this November. But just like some of the primaries and caucuses that help determine these candidates have been changed, postponed, or held online, the party conventions that will formally nominate them could also be affected. The Democratic National Convention was originally scheduled for July in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's been postponed until mid-August. The Republican National Convention is scheduled for late August in Charlotte, North Carolina. President Trump says by that time, the country will be in good shape with regard to coronavirus. But in the meantime, both political parties say they're prepared for weeks of virtual campaigning as COVID-19 continues to spread in America. A vaccine is not expected to be ready by the time of the election. And while a leading U.S. health official says a vaccine isn't a sure thing anyway, it's still a priority in the fight against the novel or new coronavirus.
A coronavirus vaccine conceptually is not a very difficult thing to do. The best way to prevent the spread of a viral infection is to have a vaccine.
Normal vaccine development takes several years.
Scientists around the world are in a race against time, trying to develop a vaccine.
We are fighting an outbreak right now.
As the novel coronavirus continues to spread around the globe, scientists in Germany, like countless others around the world, are in a race against time, trying to develop a vaccine as fast as possible for an illness the scientific world has a lot to learn about.
The family of coronaviruses are not new. We've known about them for a very long time. In fact, there's a group of them that have been infecting humans for a very long period of time, and about 10 to 30% of all the upper respiratory infections are caused by coronaviruses. For humans, it's a novel virus, but when you talk about novel viruses, they're new to the human species because, to our knowledge, a human and the human species has never been infected with this particular virus. That's what you mean by new. It's really new to humans.
The pressure couldn't be higher, with the number of novel coronavirus cases jumping every day and the global economy taking a beating from the coronavirus's effects. President Trump, at a meeting with drug makers, urged the industry to come up with a vaccine ASAP.
We're moving aggressively to accelerate the process of developing a vaccine. A lot of good things are happening, and they're happening very fast. I said, do me a favor, speed it up, and they will.
The best way to prevent the spread of a viral infection is to have a vaccine that builds up the immunity in someone so that they're protected from the spread of infection.
Coronaviruses are named because they resemble a crown with spikes on the surface. This is the spike protein that is on the surface of a coronavirus, and it's what allows it to attach to and get into the cells of the respiratory tract. This is the spike protein from the surface of a coronavirus, and it sits on the virus like this, and it allows the virus to attach to and enter cells.
If you compare, normal vaccine development takes several years. We are fighting an outbreak right now, and therefore regulatory authorities are hands-on and trying to do this within a year's time.
So for normal vaccine development, that entire process would take in the 10 to 20 years to go through all the various steps. It's extremely expensive to work with humans. We're trying to do this as fast as we can, and optimistically, best case scenario might be a year. More realistically would be in the 18 to 24 month. The phase 1 should be in a matter of weeks. That's actually really exciting that we're only 2 or 3 months out from the first detection of the virus, and we're starting to enroll a phase 1 clinical trial.
Getting that done within a year is almost unheard of as far as the certification of drugs is concerned. But the folks at the company tell us that they've almost never seen this amount of international urgency on the part of governments, on the part of NGOs, and also, of course, on the part of drug companies and labs to try and get a vaccine on the market as fast as possible and as safe as possible.
10-second trivia. In what body of water would you find the islands of Guernsey and Jersey? Baltic Sea, Bay of Biscay, English Channel, or Ionian Sea? These are two of the Channel Islands named for the English Channel where you'll find them. And it's just about 45 miles southeast of the island of Jersey, just off the coast of the Normandy region of France, where you'll find Mont Saint-Michel. It's an islet and an abbey, a town and a fortress. It got its name in the 8th century AD when a local bishop built a place of prayer there. And while we can't take you there in person, we can through your screen.
Coastal at one moment, isolated island at another, Mont Saint-Michel is incredibly stunning, no matter the tide. In between two powerful tides from Normandy and Brittany stands the Gothic-styled Benedictine Abbey, named after and dedicated to the Archangel Saint Michael. Mont Saint-Michel wasn't always an island. In prehistoric times, it stood on dry land. However, as sea levels rose, erosion reshaped the coast. Even today, it only sits 600 meters from land. Although it has less than 50 full-time residents, it is visited by more than 3 million people each year. The climb to see the Abbey isn't easy. It's around 900 steps. More than just a church on a rock, Mont Saint-Michel is a medieval time capsule and was one of the first monuments to be classed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site back in 1979.
Forget wearable tech. Let's have a look at some sweet paintable tech. This may look like a dude ruining his wall, but check out what this paint can do. Turn on light, adjust brightness. Okay, it's not actually the paint that does this. Touch-sensitive copper cutouts are created. They can then be spray painted for added effect. And using the magic of computers, this can help people change their lighting without a switch, or change the channel without a remote. MIT researchers hope this will make homes and cities smarter. Of course, you could always use a switch or a remote, but this paints a tempting picture for the touchy sort of control freak who's so sensitive he gets tackled about the Internet of everything's being at his fingertips. Fridays are awesome. I'm Carl Azus. The Panthers are on the prowl in Powell, Wyoming. Hello to everyone at Powell High School and to you and our viewers around the world. Thank you for not changing the channel on CNN.